Oh, it's been so long. Like, I can't believe I'm even saying these words again. 1, 2, 3. You're listening to Cinema Red Pill. I'm Sharon, here with
Joel
and
Timothy.
Back after a really long time. After a 2-month hiatus, not planned, but it somehow happened due to, I have no logical explanation, due to
personal commitment.
It wasn't commitment. Just personal.
Man, that's the one Paul usually use.
Personal commitment.
some email chats.
Due to
life. Life happened.
Yeah, life happened, and do you know the actual truth is due to emotional confusion.
Over what?
I was emotionally confused on what life was. I needed a break and time to reflect and see, and now I'm back to normal. And Joel and Timothy are still here.
Yes,
Didn't hesitate for a moment to come back. So we're back, and since we've been away for a really long time, we're going to recap the stuff we've been seeing, have a general conversation on the different stuff we've seen through these 2 months, since we can't now decide on what trumps the other, and what should we talk about through this time. So we're just going to talk about the stuff we saw and we liked and are interesting and are worth talking about. Ooh, I think I want to start.
Yeah, please.
And I'm going to start with the movies. And actually Ugandan. I finally saw Kyenvu.
Okay.
Kyenvu by Kemiondo Kotino. She did a public screening in the theater in the Acacia Mall Cinema. And I was happy to see it. I'm actually coupling it with Mawe, because the last time we left, we were hyping up Mawe, but we hadn't yet seen it. So we finally saw Mawe by Malcolm Bijemano. Yay! Those are 2 short films by Ugandans. Kemiondo's movie had been, Jesus Christ, like it had a hype train for a long months. If you're on social media at all, like a lot of my friends, I would mention it. Ugandans on Twitter or Facebook. Yes, mostly Ugandans on Twitter. Actually, the screening I went for was jam-packed with Ugandans on Twitter. And yes, it was. You had spoiled it for me, Joel. Joel had told me about some bits that would be in the movie. So a major thing that happens in the film, I knew it was coming, but I liked how I knew it was coming. Memories. So when it happened, I wasn't surprised. So I was mostly looking at how she chose to make it happen. Okay. And I liked the beginning bits. She has humor in it, which was fun. She has a way she's presenting the ideas of race in terms of, and skin, since there's a huge debate on light skin and darker skin. Melanin is now being praised a lot. She has a whole thing about her skin being light and one of the characters reacting to it, and her accent, since she actually has an accent. I enjoyed those bits. Then there's Michael Wawuyo is in the film. He had actually told me about this film when I interviewed him before, and it was nice to see him in the role. I know he enjoyed doing that role, so it was nice for me to see him do a role he actually enjoyed doing a lot, and he was really good in it. They have, I don't know how much I can say about the film without spoiling it, whereby I also want to say that I've arranged an interview with her for next week. So I'm actually going to get to talk to her at length about the film. Okay. But I liked it. I looked at it as a movie that's really wants you to come out of there with a particular message. Yeah. And I think she delivers it really well. Mm-hmm. The person I went with was super duper moved, and she's not a cinephile. She was extremely moved by it. Yeah, and I enjoyed watching her reaction more than I enjoyed reacting to it. But that's the movie I want to highlight. Joel, what have you been watching?
Let's see what's that. Oh yeah, let's start with the obvious one. I saw Ant-Man and Wasp.
Okay.
Which is more of like just an obligatory Marvel screening. It was a cute film, like the first one. Pretty much follows the same plot, lot of hijinks. It's a nice break from this over the top end of the world stuff over and over again. It's just like a sweet heist movie, in between sort of harmless thing. what's his name? Paul Rudd. Yeah, Paul Rudd was really awesome in the film. Him and his daughter, I really liked his daughter in the movie as well. She's a little more grown up and she's just the cutest human being. A lot of interesting, topsy-turvy sci-fi stuff. It's just okay. It's just like an in-between movie. After Infinity War, you can't really get as much psych for that. So, yeah.
Did you see anything else in the theater?
Yes, I did.
What else?
I saw Superfly.
That's interesting.
Which is
in Uganda.
Yes, it screened like for a week. Had you seen the original?
No, I hadn't seen the original. I had just seen references to the original in a shit ton of like other media, but oh god, just sort of wandered into this because I just needed a space to make out, but we eventually didn't do that. We eventually like watched the movie. It was stupid, very stupid, but in like fun ways. It's very like juvenile, testosterone fuel thing, or like this metrosexual guy had the most ridiculous haircut. Very stupid haircut, but ridiculous fun stuff. It makes no sense. So it's like it was written by a 12-year-old. So it's really interesting. But I was seated with like these really douchey dudes like at the top of the theater. They were commenting on everything happening, and that was making me laugh. It's like, this Jose ain't loyal, man. Like they're like so jacked up about like everything that was happening.
Okay,
The movie. Really stupid.
I'll check it out.
Tim, what you been watching?
I don't know. A Quiet Place. Have you guys seen it?
I've not yet seen it.
You've not yet seen it?
Have it.
Oh yeah, but So I tried to watch it.
You tried to watch it?
Yeah, I'm not in a space to sit down and focus on it. Yeah, it looks interesting.
A Quiet Place is a film by John Krasinski. He stars in it with his wife, Emily Blunt, where they play a couple in this. I don't know if it was a post-apocalyptic time. I think the world was. Yeah, it was. So there was this.
That's his real wife.
That's Emily Blunt. Yeah, like married in real life. Yeah. So they're basically playing a couple who have to raise their kids. One of them, I think, is deaf, has hearing issues. Another one is killed off early in the movie, and then there's a son. So they basically have to protect their kids in this world where people are being hunted by creatures that don't have sight but have this super hypersensitive hearing, basically. Yeah. So basically, the whole movie now the whole movie there's a lot of use of sign language, and because they survive by being quiet and the silence and all that is told very visually. And that's why actually I like it, because I would compare this movie to, I would say, Get Out last year. That's how and it's produced by Michael Bay. That's what shocked me. I was like, finally, he pushed a good one out for once. Yeah, so this film was good because, again, as I said, John Krasinski, I didn't expect him to be this good, because the visual storytelling is on point. They really don't use a lot of dialogue. There are a lot of moments of danger where, like, for example, people are in pain. Like, there's this one scene where, like, I think an alarm has been made, and now Emily Blunt is running down. Her water has broke. She's running down into the basement to give birth, and then she actually steps on a nail. So she has the pain of, like, her wound on the foot, and she has to give birth, being hunted by a creature that's sensitive to, like, hearing. First of all, when her kid is going to cry. So it had, like, all these really high stakes set pieces that were really just brilliant, in my opinion. Like, I would say it's like I don't know, I'm not sure about this budget. I don't think it was Get Out cheap, but I think it's probably one of the better films I've seen this year that were made on a very small budget, but have also made a lot of money. That's why I compare it to Get Out, because again, they took a chance on an unproven director, I could say, but the results were fantastic. If anyone has seen it, if anyone hasn't seen it,
a lot of people have seen it. Like in my movie groups, a ton of people have seen it and really liked it.
It's a very, very good mainstream movie. It blew me away.
Really.
And because I think I see it advertised on ALOT, so I was like, man, this movie must be some hype nonsense, because it's a celebrity couple. When I actually sat down to watch it, just the opening sequence, when you watch it, you'll see just the opening sequences, you're hooked for the rest of the movie. Have you guys seen The Commuter?
Yeah.
Liam Neeson.
You really liked The Commuter?
It was actually not as bad as I thought it would be, to be honest. It
I
had,
think it was.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, because nowadays I'm used to the whole Taken vibe, but
I've remembered what I liked about that movie.
What did you like about it?
I liked how they were moving through time really fast.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning, there's where they show his commute being very repetitive. I like how they chose to do that. It was fun. But otherwise, I found it just okay.
No, it felt like there are a lot of movies that I would say I like it and a better source code, which other one would I put? But then this one, even if it felt like a stripped down version of all those stories, I think having Liam Neeson again in that role, he did it very well. And he wasn't like this all-powerful guy we usually see him in other movies, like Taken and all that. He was a bit more vulnerable, and it was good to see. It wasn't bad viewing, I would say. It's another that defied my expectations.
Have you seen Ready Player One yet?
No, I still haven't.
You haven't seen it yet?
Are you watching movies?
That's the
Are you
thing.
serious?
I'm serious because I've had no internet.
Why do I remember as if you guys recorded that?
No,
she
I had
talked
seen it because I saw it in the
Oh
theater.
yeah.
Another thing I want to spotlight is the stand-up show you saw in my movies. It's called Nanette, and it's done by a lady called Hannah Gadsby. So Hannah Gadsby is a lesbian, and she in her stand-up show, what she does is super different, and it's one of those where I remember the way you described Hassan Minaj's thing. It's one of those things where you'd say, this is just a TED talk, because she really gets political.
It's very
but what this chick does is really more than a TED talk, because she actually has a lot of. She starts by having some critiques on comedy and how comedians use comedy and tell their jokes in a sort of 2-act structure, and they don't complete the story, and how it's dangerous because usually they're coming from a place of a lot of pain, but then they don't show the full picture of everything. They always stop there, and then it ends up it can affect you as a person. So she critiques that. In the middle of it, then she goes into relaying how she has critiqued comedy and then uses it with art, because she studied art. She studied what type of art? Paintings, Picasso, like art history. And she uses
Cubism.
She talks about cubism a lot, actually, and she talks about it in that light of how people like a tortured artist and everything. And of course, she's super duper feminist, and she talks about being an angry feminist. And I think she said words I really wanted to hear a lot, because I liked her viewpoint on how people view an angry feminist and how it can be a redundant thing to do. It was so good. And then she finishes it by talking about how she wants to get out of comedy, and then she goes into a really personal story. This is when someone would call it a TED talk. Affecting, because first of all, she's really, really funny. She's really, really clever, and she's really, really affecting. And her story is so haunting and can make you cry. That show is. It happened like exactly the way I was seeing that people say, like, when you see this, you're going to want everyone in your life to see it. And that's the exact reaction I had. I'm like, oh my God, you guys need to see this. Yeah.
Actually, so like I think I saw it on your letterbox. Then like I saw after like a while, it was all over the place. Everyone was. It was all.
Yes, it blew up. A lot after that. I think I even saw it before it had proper blown up. As you know how things work. They start small, people see them, they blow up, then they get the critique. Like that's the normal way everything goes. That's also her thing has now gone into that place where people are now trying to critique, like, is this actually comedy? But I really, really like it. I think I dig it. It has been the most affecting thing I've seen in 2018 so far. Joel.
Oh yeah, I watched my one stand-up for the year. I watched like one stand-up a year.
Who do you watch?
Oh my
Who
God.
is it?
Which one? I'm even shocked.
I got the Chris Rock one from her.
Tambourine.
So I was like, I just randomly have that jam. So I just sat down to watch it. It was hard for me to focus at first, but I really got into it. I'm not the biggest Chris Rock fan, but again, when he got into stories about like cheating and getting divorced and all this dark shit, like I found that part interesting, and the way the audience responded to that, like when he was being serious. And yeah, what you're talking about like the relationship between comedy and pain, I do really enjoy seeing stuff like that. So for me, those real moments are really interesting to me, because he was being like really real, but then he really set up this foundation of just funny. And I enjoyed sort of seeing how audience is like confused between whether they should laugh exactly at what he's saying or like actually take it seriously. But it should like hit me. He was like, he's actually giving some really good advice, I guess, like about love and about relationships and stuff like that. So it's interesting seeing him grow as a person, especially if you've watched him like since those days where he was like a crack film. What movie was that?
New Jack City.
Yeah, New Jack City. That's the image I kept having in my head. That's like New Jack City, Chris Rock. So yeah, I also enjoy just seeing him as a human being, having like grown and progressed and like, going through all this stuff. And yeah, I was surprised that I actually enjoyed it. And also, nice little thing from you was saying that Bob Burnham directed it at the end. I was like,
how come you like Bob Burnham?
because he's a weirdo.
You've been watching his stuff on YouTube, eh?
Yeah, just a few clips.
His stuff is too weird for me.
Yeah, but going back to Tambourine, like actually watched it all. I watched it too, but I actually didn't like it as much as I would say Chris Rock's other. Like I think I watched all his specials, even like the older ones in '96. I went and watched them whole on YouTube. Like and that whole thing you're saying of his growth, like I didn't think the jokes were as funny as say his previous specials, but the growth, because even a lot of the things he was complaining about, like in previous specials about his marriage, he was addressing them directly. Now I think because he's divorced and everything, he was actually addressing them. So that's the thing I like the most about Tambourine.
What is your film?
The next one. Okay, I'm going to go through just a few. I'm not going to go so much into them. As you said earlier, Ready Player One. I watched that. My God, this thing was CGI heavy, but it was. I enjoyed all the pop culture references, and I enjoyed the world Spielberg built. Like it wasn't. I wouldn't say it's his best work, but the world he built, and just all the references. I'm sure people have talked a lot about the Shining scene and all that. Another movie I'll talk about just briefly, Red Sparrow.
Well, that's what's her face?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
I'm still wondering if she actually did those scenes herself or because I think she should be done. Was always saying she doesn't do like nudity and stuff like that.
Oh, really? She did the nudity
herself.
Yeah, she became easy.
That's why I watched the movie like Bulu. It was actually there's a way they objectified her, and people say Salt is bad. People say Salt is a bad movie, but this one was completely on just objectifying Jennifer Lawrence as some sort of. It's the truth. Like if you actually compare, you remember Salt, Angelina Jolie, and Red Sparrow. It's basically the same movie almost. Like someone undercover, just because this one comes from this side and is brought here. And even I expect a person like Jennifer Lawrence maybe to be in a movie where she's going to kick a little bit more ass and all that stuff, but it wasn't there at all in this movie. And another one I'll mention quickly, Game Over Man. You've watched that one?
No.
Ridiculous.
I'm definitely
the guys of Workaholics. Okay. The Workaholics team. Is it Ian Holm, this other guy who's in Pitch Perfect now and all that? They basically get together and they make you watch Workaholics, the series. They make a Workaholics movie now, basically. Okay. The same stuff. No difference. Man. And this movie went around because a lot of people, I think, probably, like, I think our taste in, like, comedy might be a little bit, more, I don't know. I would say deadpan. The shows we watch, we don't usually watch, like, laugh out loud shows. But this one I watched it with people, and people were dying. Like, I really couldn't get the gist. I don't know. It's really low.
I knew you are not.
And one was like, I've got this movie, these guys of Workaholics, let's put it in, we watch. Then, man, leave the other 3, 4.
Finally, I saw Ocean's 8. I didn't like it a lot. I was hoping for the women to have more banter that I enjoyed. I didn't. It's not good. Joel, I watched The Boss Baby. And all I want to say about it is that the first 40 minutes, I was like, oh my God, Joel was right. This is a masterpiece. The movie continues and you're like, okay, no, you don't have your shit together. It didn't have its shit together.
It was so much creative shit at you, like the visuals.
First minutes were mind blowing. The trailer doesn't let you know. You just think it's a stupid Boss Baby. Anyway,
you should watch it and do a retrospective.
Those first minutes are really good though. And then I also watched Mission Impossible Fallout, which is good.
You watched it? How is it?
It's really good.
It's really good.
It's really good. Like The action sequences are really good.
I'm sure at this
And
point, Tom Cruise can do that stuff in his sleep. At
Yeah,
this
like,
point.
it's almost like shit.
Clockwork.
They're doing it really well.
Yeah.
I don't even need to say more. It's really good. But I wanted to talk about some TV shows.
Okay.
First, I watched Killing Eve. Killing Eve is. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Have you heard of it?
No, I asked you.
You guys, Killing Eve is a show which has Sandra. Oh no, you dudes! Did you watch Grey's Anatomy? Any of you? You
Sort
know
of.
Sandra Oh, the Asian
Yes,
lady.
yes.
Sandra Oh.
So Sandra Oh is in it, and she plays the detective, and she's searching for a serial killer, and the serial killer is another lady. So this is a serial killer story where they're really using the normal tropes of serial killer things, like any other show you'd think of, say the Hannibals and whatnot, where they're looking for that kind of serial killer. It uses those same tropes, but it just feels fresh as shit. It really feels fresh, and yeah, it definitely has a lot to do with that. There are two main leads who are women, and even they mention
It's
that
Sandra Oh and
constantly.
who?
Sandra Oh and it's not a very popular actress who plays a serial killer, but it is so good. She plays a really menacing character that's really cool, and then they give them some sort of act together as the two of them. I really dig it. It just feels super duper fresh. I like it. The one that I really wanted to talk about as the main one, my final one, is Succession. Because Succession is one of those shows which I would typically not like. I usually feel tired by full white leads and men. Like, I'm bored. We have seen it. I'm so tired. Like, telling me about another male show with ego. Like, you're really boring me. But this is a show I really, really dig because it's being very satirical about it, and it is great.
And
I think
had an
if you're
argument
going to
about
tell
that
a
with
story
someone.
about Goliath, make fun of him, and you will have people. I think that's how the show succeeds so well. What were you having an argument about?
Like, I was trying to say, like, okay, because I could see there are some motifs, like, it has that almost documentary feel, like, the Office, all those shows. But I started trying to somewhat satirical. Someone was saying, no, it's a straight out, like, I think they're trying to compare it to, like, a white collar drama. Apparently for them, they see it's actually dark. Me, I was finding stuff very funny. The language, all that. People are like, no, this is
full-blown
drama.
satire, like Veep. It's not straight up drama.
Yeah.
It's full blown satire. But even Philip was telling me he doesn't laugh, and I was
Exactly.
shocked by that because
That's
I
why I'm
did
putting it
ball
in, because
out
I'm going to play this
laughing.
for someone and I'll be like, listen, it's satire.
really-
It's comedy. Someone agrees with me.
It's definitely
comedy.
satire.
I think it's something that splits. Like, I don't know if you maybe look at it that way, but other people might see it as just obnoxious, rich, white people being dicks. And not really.
But looking stupid as they're being
Yeah.
dicks. They're making fun of them by far.
Great score. That's a great opening theme song.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some shows that have those really good theme songs. Like, even I would say the one for Mad Men. Those are like, I would say even Mad Men.
really
The
good.
song also hooked me like to the show. It's the same thing with Succession. Like, at first, Shani Ben, I had the
Then
song.
you
I was
had
like,
the song, like,
sounds might be interesting. And let me watch it.
don't you? I think there's a correlation with people that shows that have, first of all, good theme songs and long ones.
Yeah,
they really
yeah.
take their time on that
Yeah.
theme song.
They take their time. Game
Joel,
of
you should
Thrones.
give that show a try.
Okay.
Look, can I mention one series though that I watched that I got from you actually?
What?
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Oh my god.
That
It
show
was
is
really
so good.
I actually really like that show.
Have
And
you seen it, Joel?
I've seen 60 seconds of it.
no, it's really
I'm not
good.
ready to
No,
watch
but
it
it's
yet.
really good. Like,
Marvelous
as far as like
Mrs.
the comedy scene, like in the 60s and like
Yeah, I've had only good
yeah,
things,
it's
so
really good.
I will definitely.
I went.
It first
So
sat it first sat in my drive for a while. Then I was like, no, I'll give this thing a chance. It was
Mr.
really
City.
good. You should watch
but
it.
I'll get that. I'll get
Yeah,
that.
I got evangelical about that one. I
Yeah,
gave it
it's
to
really
everyone
good.
in my
It's
life.
good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Joel, what you been watching?
Yeah, I was going to talk about the TV show, but I remembered I also watched Incredibles 2 in the cinema. And yeah, that was actually a really, really fun movie. Very interesting movie. This one like focuses more on Elastigirl, which I guess has been hinted at in the trailers.
Yes.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to sort of devolve into this thing of like, oh no, man has to struggle
With the
Mm.
Yeah, I mean that's like a part of it, but it's like a little bigger on that. There's this whole commentary on just the whole superhero worship landscape that we're in right now. There's lots of very smart writing, very clever villain, and Elastigirl was actually a very good choice for the story. It didn't feel like, oh, now let's just throw a lady because like it actually really fit in with the story, and even why the company argues that no, she's a perfect person to like relaunch superheroes. Everything's well written, everything completely makes sense. Her leaving the kids behind makes sense. It's just a beautifully written story, and yeah, in many ways it's a step above the first one. Yeah, really good writing there. I just remember the series I watched called Happy.
What's Happy about?
Happy, it's called Happy exclamation mark. Exclamation point. Happy is based on a graphic novel. Sarah would probably know all the backstory to this shit, but like it's based on a graphic novel about a dude who's like an ex-cop turned into a hitman, and basically he gets sort of haunted by his daughter's imaginary friend, who's a bunny with wings called Happy. So this cartoon bunny, you see like the most horrible violence that you've ever seen in your life. And this cartoon bunny like it's like, oh, your daughter is in danger, we need to go see her. It's just like the rest of the series is one long acid trip. I watched it in one night actually. It's like 13 episodes. And in between the euphoria of like sleep deprivation, the crazy that was happening,
it became really nice.
It was amazing.
I'm sure I've been there.
It's really stupid, yeah, because it was really dumb, but also like really sweet and reflective. It's like a redemption story, but the juxtaposition between a horrible violence and a cartoon rabbit constantly being thrown in your face is really stupid. But yeah, it's I don't know if it's something to recommend. It's not. It's an experience. I recommend
you have to find it yourself.
Yeah, if you can see
yeah, it's an experience.
Yeah, I can't. It's not something you can just casually pop this in, and you can't do that. You can't casually pop it in and watch it to demand your attention from beginning to end, and will require you to suspend so much fucking disbelief, just so much, just to accept its ridiculous premises, and it just keeps going and going and going.
Also have to get acid to watch probably once.
Yeah.
So to get acid.
Acid. Oh yeah, you have to be as loose as possible.
Yeah.
To accept what's going on, because
yeah, I really think that's important. Your mood should detect what you watch. Don't just watch anything.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, what am I in the mood for? Because the blunders that happen when you force something on yourself when you're not in the mood are atrocious. Are we in honorable mention territory, or have you not made your pick?
Yeah, I'll do honorable, then I'll just do one movie that probably. So one more series I watched also recently. I watched. You've heard of Unsolved?
No.
I think they're going to do like maybe an anthology thing, like Unsolved Crimes. So the first season was the murder of Biggie and Tupac. So that was actually good to see. Another one I'll mention. It's a creature feature. I hadn't seen Kong Skull Island. I watched it recently over this period, but I also watched Rampage.
Did you like them?
Rampage.
I prefer. Okay, I don't know. As you're saying, mood. Maybe I was really loose, so those things didn't hit me as hard. Like, I went through them fairly, Kawa. Especially Rampage. Rampage actually was. It was a bit better, probably I would say, than Kong Skull Island because. Yeah, I don't know.
Kong Island is not so bad.
It's not so bad, but then of course I could see that there are those scenes like trying to go back to King Kong and all that, and he's king of the island. He keeps those other guys inside. Rampage was more of like all-out blockbuster. In the moment we're going to destroy a city, there's a giant alligator, a giant gorilla, a giant. It was just excess, and plus The Rock is like the main guy. Is like the gentle person in all of this. So anyway, the other one I'll mention real quick is A Futile and Stupid Gesture. I got it from you.
Liked it.
So it was a nice comedy. I liked it, of course, again also a bit biographical and very meta. It was kind of like Aitonian biographical comedy, all that. The one I want to mention last is Unsane.
What?
Unsane.
What the hell is that?
Steven Soderbergh. I got it from you. Steven Soderbergh. It's a
The way you're
psychological thriller.
mentioning it is
Unsane.
weird.
You haven't seen it?
I've
Unsane.
seen it.
Unsane. 2018. Steven Soderbergh. I really liked this movie. I think it's one of probably over this year. It's the one I like the most. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have. You like
Yeah.
it more than Annihilation?
Yeah. I would
Nice.
say.
Okay.
I like because again, even the scale is also very small. The way it was done, because it was shot on an iPhone 7.
It was.
Yeah, and he did everything basically for himself. So it's basically about this chick who keeps seeing a stalker. At first, she's not sure if it's an actual stalker or her own mental issues. She goes for like a consultation with like a doctor, and she's put against her will inside like this mental rehab center, where she later she gets friends. Jay Farrow is one of them. The guy who was in SNL, Jonah Temple, all those people, and you find out that like, they're basically in this rehab center. It's like a scheme where they make money off patients unwillingly, like they collect that claim money. It was well done. It was a well done film. I respect Steven Soderbergh. I know he's a legend. I know that. The way it was shot, the story, the whole thing. I also watched Devil's Chest. It's this Ugandan film. I think it won Best Feature at the UCC Film Festival last year by a guy called Hassan Magay. So it's also basically, it was I think one of two films about Connie last year. There's one we covered I think in one episode on the festival, Connie Order from Above by N.E.T. Steve. So this one was by another guy. And the other one was more Order from Above was more about, Connie and his aura, as a rebel leader and his spiritual revelations, whatever was driving him to do what he does. This was more about a woman. It was more of a, how would I say, it was a bit ordinary. A woman with her family during a raid, by when they come and kill her husband, who's trying to defend, actually is caught trying to kill one of the rebels to protect his kids. So they kill him, they get the woman and the kid, they take them to the camp, and they are now they even, of course, there's all that. There's a very graphic rape scene. The rape in this movie is very, and it's by Ugandan standards. It went. I'd never seen it this bad. I don't know how the women, because they are ripping their clothes off. There was at least frontal nudity, all that. So it was very graphic. Then Connie gets interest in the main chick. The baby's husband was killed, has a daughter, and basically makes her one of his wives. And it's basically just about her and the other women. Okay, a few women inside the camp, trying to find a way to escape and how they cope with all that. But it's actually a good people actually now telling their stories. And on that scale, because they had full army uniforms, the CGI, the gunshots, it was Hollywood style, but it was respectable.
Okay.
You get it was a well done movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Devil's Chest, Hassan Magay.
Well, I watched Isle of Dogs. And I liked Isle of Dogs. I'm not a huge Wes Anderson fan, but I liked Isle of Dogs because it has a lot of cuteness in it. I'm not going to say anything more. You guys should watch. I watched First Reformed. It's Paul Schrader, writer of Taxi Driver, writer of Last Two Temptation of you like.
Awesome.
He's a film scholar also. He writes books.
Very spiritual.
Okay.
It's like Mother, in that you can't come out of it without
he's that kind of guy.
It's better than Mother.
No, okay, he's that kind of guy. He's a person who'd be deep in symbolism and all that stuff. Would probably.
Yeah.
Joel, your honorable mentions.
Oh yeah, I have two. The first is I finally watched Death of Stalin. I really loved it from beginning because I didn't know what I was walking into at all. I had read nothing about it. I didn't even remember what you had said about it. But at first it was jarring seeing the whole British thing. I was like, okay, what's this exactly? The only else I got was this dry British political satire. Then I was just fully on board, and it was for me fantastically done. And just the political characters, even Khrushchev,
all those guys,
just everything was so well done. That conniving intelligence officer and
the guy who was outed in the end.
It was so hilarious and dark and super real.
When they came and found Stalin was dead, and now guys.
That's the stuff getting rid of papers here, then this dude having his puppet leader, and just the way they're trying to outdo themselves in this ridiculous, but yet the consequences were real and fucked up, but the characters were so stupid at the same time. They really dug it.
What else?
The second one I watched was Walk Hard, which I got from you, the Dewey Cox story.
I've not yet watched all
haven't
of
seen that
it.
one.
What's his name again? C. Riley. Is it Paul C. Riley? What's his name?
John
C. Riley. Yeah, I was in a mood to watch it.
I've not yet found it. I've not yet found
I think he actually also helped me with Kong. He
Yeah.
helped me with Kong.
Oh, yeah,
I was
no,
like,
he was,
oh
he
my
was
god.
the best.
I was like, nah,
Hands
this time
down.
I can now go with this.
Yeah, hands down best part of Kong. That movie was amazing.
Now I'm going to see.
It's very, very stupid. So stupid. But then once you're on board with the stupidity, and then you have this, because it goes exactly where I think to go. And he like goes through the entire like music revolution from like the 40s, goes through like the 70s, the hippie era, goes to rock and roll, like goes through all this stupid stuff, and of course meets all like the highlight
people.
guys, and it's so stupid.
I've always wanted to see it.
Yeah, but then it still has like a whole like arc, like you legit feel like he has lived this whole life and learned a lesson about some shit. And the songs, surprisingly, are actually good. They're really stupid lyrics, but they're like legit. Because you've been going through like a horrible thing, like his wife's about to leave him with all his children. Then you like be arguing with her and say a line as like he gets an idea for a song. And it gets like all reflective and deep and shit. It's so stupid. But yeah.
Anything else for you?
No, there are
That's
some
it.
titles from. And there you go.
Some titles
These
from.
are old. I don't really want to mention
Party
them.
cakes. I think.
Yeah.
As in,
Why
it's
you
not
hating
even
on Party Cakes,
one.
Badly?
As in, it's
It
not
wasn't a
even.
bad
It's
movie.
not a bad movie, but I don't see the value.
Yeah, that's the
in
thing. That's
talking
why.
About it is my
No,
point.
I was actually going to mention Loveless, and you were never really here, but
Or did you like You Were Never Really Here?
not really. I get the chick style, but maybe I need to watch it again. Maybe those kinds of movies you need to watch one more time.
It's quite fascinating, though. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it's very
a very
interesting,
interesting
yeah.
movie.
And Joaquin Phoenix is great, by the way.
He's really, really
Great.
good. Anyway, I think that's it. This has been our catch-up episode after a 2-month hiatus. We are back.
Yeah.
We are back for good, for real. Although you're not going to hear these boys' voices for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I hadn't
See
yet
what
told
you
you
say.
guys I've abandoned you just for the next 2 episodes.
What's happening in the next? for the
Yeah,
next-
Brenda is going to be in the next episode. We haven't yet. Brenda is an actress in Timothy's movie Askari, which is going to premiere soon. We haven't yet discussed what we're going to talk about. I'll chat with her tomorrow, but she's going to be in the next episode. She's a movie buff, so it's going to be fun. And then after, I hope. First of all, I'm not sure. This is not yet super confirmed, but I hope the next week is when the Kyenvu interview will be. It's going to be over Skype, and then after that, these boys will come back for whatever. I don't know what it's going to be, but they'll be away for those 2 weeks. But we are back in business, and we are serious. And Joel is a photographer now.
Apparently,
If you want to know what happens in 2 months.
a lot of it.
How it happens.
Joel is a photographer now. Check out his Joel Turgeneo photography Facebook page.
Very easy to remember.
Yes, check it out. It has really good portraits. Then as our website is up and running and doesn't crash anymore. Oh my god, I've suffered with that website. It goes off. It used to go off like every 2 days. The website is up and running. Please check it out. cinemarental.com. All the episodes will be there, and links to SoundCloud or iTunes if you want to subscribe. You're pointing at me like you wanted me to say something.
I wasn't.
Yes. This has been our episode on the stuff we've watched in the hiatus. I don't know what I'm going to title the episode, but it's good to be back. Feels good to be back. I missed you guys.
Mambi.
Yeah, I'm
We
Sharon.
hope you're still there, by the way.
Yeah, but
Five guys are there. Hope you guys haven't forgotten us.
Oh god, but they did forget. People would still be listening even when nothing was there. They would come back to listen to all stuff. Anyway, I'm Sharon.
Timothy.
And Joel.
Keep on the lookout for Askari. It's coming out soon. And bye.